Okay, so welcome to the cool Crone, everybody. Here's another episode of PoliTarology, and I am here with my sister, Cleo. Hi, Cleo.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, and I'm happy to be here.
Great.
And let's talk politics.
Yeah, let's talk politics. Exactly. You took the words right out of my mind. All right. So we prepared a few topics ahead of time to talk about, and I believe the first person that we're going to talk about is Widow Kevin McCarthy, who is now the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
So what are your? I'll shuffle, and you talk about Kevin. And
well, okay. So I mean, I felt kind of good about Kevin because he recently had a sit down with Joe Biden, and he sounded like he was trying to give a little to get a little, and he acted like that it all turned out well.
What were they talking about?
They didn't say. I think they're talking about partly about the budget.
Okay.
And if the Republicans hold out on that, it would be such a complete mess if that happened. But I'm looking at the next couple of years with Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans controlling the House, and it just doesn't look good.
You'll never guess who's calling me.
I have no idea.
Well, it's not Joe Biden.
Kevin? Is Kevin calling?
No, it's not Kevin. It's our brother.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't answer.
Right.
Hi, Pat.
You're going to have to talk to him later. Well, maybe my phone will start ringing here in a moment.
Yeah, it probably will.
So, so when we're talking about now that the Republicans control the House, fortunately, the Democrats control the Senate. So, unless, there's people that are deflecting, people that are, they're even talking about some people that are going to drop out and they're going to have to revote and stuff like that. Let's just say that for now, it's going to stay the same. And I think it really is going to stay the same.
What, the majority, you mean?
The majority, exactly.
The Republicans holding the majority. Okay.
Republican, in the House, but not in the Senate.
Right.
So hopefully the Senate can move in on certain things. They can't do it with everything, but they can move in on certain things and kind of control that situation a little bit better. Where the Republicans are vindictive about everything, and they keep trying to point fingers that Biden's done something wrong. And then when this thing came up about the secret documents or the classified documents, that they found at Biden's house, and everybody's in an uproar because, oh my God, you better treat it the same as you did with Trump. Well, no, they're not going to. I mean, we all know that's not how Biden approached the whole thing. He said, oh my God, I didn't know they were there. I do take this seriously. Fine, go ahead. Everybody come in and let's find all these documents.
Well, and they had not subpoenaed the documents or whatever they did. They had not been asking him for 18 months or 2 years or whatever it was for the documents. Exactly. It was like, oops, look what showed up. Nobody knew. If that's the truth. I don't really believe that's the truth, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, Trump has skirted the whole issue. Trump has tried to hide it, and Trump has lied. Now, here's what I really want to talk about is the lies from the Republicans. And it's just rampant, and it doesn't change. And it probably existed before Trump, but it's almost like Trump handed all Republicans this blank check that said, go ahead and lie, but once you do it, stick to it. Don't back down.
Yeah, he absolutely did. He absolutely set up a rule book for them, and they are following it to a T.
And so this constant lies throws off the American public because the Republicans don't look at it as a lie. The voters don't look at it as a lie. And so they're being misguided And so these next 2 years is just going to be, I'd like to say something real positive about it, but I don't see that is going to happen. It's not going to be a very positive time. It's going to be a lot of work for Biden. It's just going to get worse. Here's the problem. I originally saw that for the next 2 years that this gave the Republicans an opportunity to kind of regroup and get rid of some of the negativity that came out of the Trump administration. But so far, I mean, they look to me like they're holding on to the same old thing. They're, they are going to back up Trump. And they're looking around like Trump didn't do anything. And we all know that that's absolutely not true. Trump's got so many legal issues on his plate, and he's got so many things to have to deal with, and he can't lie his way out of it. And so, all the lying on his part is coming to a head, and he's been exposed. So yeah, I'd be interested to know how the cards come out for the next 2 years, especially with Congress and the Republicans, because I don't see it as being another very productive.
Not productive. No. Well, I threw cards. I threw them out, and so I'll go over them. So the first card that comes up is the High Priestess, and the High Priestess means that there's a lot of secrets. And somebody is holding the knowledge. Somebody is hanging on to all of the truth and the knowledge, but they're keeping it from everybody else. And that is the person who's really in charge. Now, I don't think that's Kevin McCarthy.
No, I think that might be the, what is his name? The guy that was in power before.
Mitch McConnell?
That guy.
Maybe. Because why is he still there? Why hasn't he retired? He and his wife are completely bamboozled with money. They have so much money. And why is he still in Congress? He's not the speaker. He's not going to be the speaker. It looks like he's gone the way of John Boehner and whoever it was. Is it Paul Ryan or Mike Ryan? Or anyway,
well, I don't know, but I don't think that Mitch McConnell ever wanted to be speaker.
No, I think he did. I think he really did.
So? Okay.
Oh, I really think he did, because he wanted to get all those judges in there. I mean, that was his dream, is to get all those conservative judges in there. And then this that's happening now, this is what he wanted to happen. I do think, though, it's a runaway train, and I don't think he expected it to go quite so authoritarian as it has, because I don't think Mitch McConnell is actually on the side of Donald Trump. I think he hates him.
He doesn't care for Donald Trump. But there's a problem. There's another problem, is they don't dare say that.
No.
The Republicans have to be very, they're walking a tightrope. They cannot say that they're not for Donald Trump just in case something happens. But also it just makes, Donald Trump has played them for fools. And they know it.
Oh, yeah, because he's not really transactional. I mean, that's all that they say about him. He's so transactional. He's so transactional. Well, superficially transactional. But once that transaction is over, everybody else makes the mistake of thinking that they can trust him to have their backs, because that's what they would do, because they're not psychopaths. So, well, true. Well, you know what it's like to live with, well, he wasn't a psychopath, but you know what it's like to live with a nut job. You're walking on eggshells all the time. You're always, looking over your shoulder, waiting for that fist to fly into your eye. I mean, you're always waiting for that. And they're too stupid to do that. But anyway, let me get on with the cards, because I got a lot to say about the Republicans too. Okay, so what crosses them in this is that they're sitting pretty right now. They have the keys to the kingdom. And they know it, and they're going to play it to the hilt. They're going to do everything that they can. And they believe, this reminds me of Lauren Boebert sitting right here, this little brunette. They believe that because they have the keys to the kingdom, that everybody thinks they're pretty and likes them and trusts them. And that's where they're wrong. Nobody likes them and nobody trusts them. I mean, I think the polls are that it's like there's something like somewhere between 24 and 27% of the entire possible population of the voting public in the United States might be Republican. I think that's the most that it can be. That's really low. Mm-hmm. And it might not even be that many people.
Well, so many Republicans are leaving the Republican Party.
Exactly.
And then so many Republicans that aren't leaving, they're not voting Republican anymore.
Correct. Yeah. So that brings that number even lower.
Right.
So their challenge is that with all the power, believing their own bull. You know? I mean, they think the public is believing their own bull. I don't think the public, only that 24, 25% might be believing it. I don't think anybody else is believing it.
I agree. Yeah, but you know, if you go back to the primaries, that is exactly, you know, that they thought that everybody was listening to them and listening to their lies, and it's like propaganda, you know, trying to get these different people into the House and the Senate, and it just didn't work because they weren't being honest. They weren't being truthful. And you can't, Republican or Democrat, the voters know when they're being lied to. And they also know that they have been conned by Donald Trump. So they're irritated.
Yeah, you know? And it's so ironic that, what's his name, Santos got elected. And
that guy.
The joke is on them. The joke is on them. They're so stupid. Now, what's been going on is a lot of thievery. They've stolen a lot. They've stolen votes. They've stolen credibility. They've stolen the truth. They've stolen the impeachments. They've stolen other elections. They've stolen so much stuff, and they don't care. They're very happy about it. What's coming up for them is big challenges. Now, I don't think it's going to be tomorrow, but the month of March, astrologically, is going to be a whopper. We got Saturn and Pluto changing signs into signs that are really going to help the United States. But that shift of energy that we're going to feel in March is going to be 150 indictments coming down from Jack Smith, and another 150 coming down from all the other AGs all over the East Coast that are prosecuting half of Congress and Trump and everybody else affiliated with Trump. I mean, March is just going to be a killer month. That's when things, I think, are really going to change, because there are going to be people in Congress that get indicted or charged or thrown in jail or something. I mean, it's happening. There are going to be people in Congress that have to leave their posts because they are criminals. What's going to happen after that is let's just contrast these two cards. The Republicans are going to go from this to this.
Yeah, that looks like quite a contrast.
Oh, do you think? Yes, I think so. And yet they're both cards that have to do with money. So the Republicans who have court cases and attorneys they have to pay for that they thought they had the money for, all of a sudden, they're not going to have the money. They're not going to have any money. They're not going to have any friends. They're going to be in this desolate wasteland where they're all alone. And P.S., their careers are ruined because they're going to be found to be criminals. I don't know how many of them this will happen to. A lot of people who have predicted similar things have kept the numbers very, very small. I think the numbers are going to be much bigger because I think there's a lot of them who have.
I've been looking at that, and I mean, it's such a wild card because technically anybody that had done the kind of things that Donald Trump has done and all the different things that he's being looked at for, what concerns me is why hasn't something happened now? By now, I mean, we're talking like over 2 years of looking, you know, like the insurrection. My goodness, that's
well, I think that goes back to Mitch McConnell, because I think Mitch McConnell has stacked the courts with so many conservative Republican judges, that even the ones who don't bend over backwards in favor of like Trump or whatever, they're still not liberals. They're still not progressives. They're not going to say that these people were wrong for some of the things that they do. Now, some of them do. Well, let's do both. Let's talk about not the insurrection, but let's talk about other politicians and then Trump. Now, Trump's got over 40 cases going on. You don't hear about those. You only hear when there's something really big, like a judge writes an opinion that says, "Oh yes, he's definitely did something wrong." Right? And then you've got like Jim Jordan, who what happened to his case? He's never gotten charged. Why? Because he probably found a judge who's very, looked favorably upon him. Matt Gaetz had several court cases going on against him in Florida. Those have just kind of gone away. He was just on Ari Melber the other night, and Ari Melber asked him the same thing, and he said, "Oh, those have all been, dismissed." Dismissed? Really? Wow. Yeah. So I think that now back to what's going to happen to people in Congress, I do think that wrapped up in all the investigations of Donald Trump about January 6th and about all the other crap that he did. Let's not forget about him. I can't remember that. You remember that word everybody learned about when he first got into the White House? It was like, kind of like nepotism, but he was unduly enriched by being the president when he shouldn't have been. There was a word for it. I can't remember what it is now, but that. So that whole thing where he had foreign dignitaries stay at his hotel in Washington, D.C., and he got paid for that.
Right. He got a lot of money for that.
Lots of undue enrichment. He did.
And initially, when he first went into office, they said, "You can't be Trump Incorporated and also be president." And he's like, "Oh, no. Letting the kids take over, letting Donnie and Eric and Ivanka, they'll all take care of this for me."
And every time he traveled, the CIA had to pay to stay at his hotels or golf resorts while they watched him.
And we heard about that as it was happening, and nobody seemed, we heard about it. We knew it wasn't right. And then it was just like, oh, okay, well, move on. It's a new day.
And even the thing, remember when, who was it? Nunez ran across the White House lawn and tried to warn him about whatever it was. And then Sean Spicer was hiding in the bushes. Do we remember this? These things were all connected to things that they were doing that were illegal. So all of those things, I don't think lawmakers or lawyers or judges, I don't think they forgot, attorney generals, I don't think they've forgotten about these. I think they have this huge spreadsheet of all the cases that involve these people that do somehow revolve around Trump. And I think that a lot of those little cases are going to catch up to some people in Congress. I think the January 6th stuff is going to catch up to the people in Congress and Trump and all his cronies. So I think there's going to be because this is Pluto we're talking about, and Pluto is nuclear bombs. It's nuclear power. It's total destruction, right? And I think that in March, when it's changing signs or leading up to the end of March, it changes signs on the 23rd of March and the few weeks after the 23rd of March. I think that 6-week period surrounding that is going to be just explosion after explosion legally for a lot of people in Congress. And there could be some Democrats who get pulled out too, actually.
Well, yeah, and the Democrats aren't doing everything perfectly either.
No, they're not.
But the Republicans are consistently, well, I think, like this thing of pointing the finger somewhere else and not getting down to business. The people, the voters want some, we're concerned about the economy. We're concerned about inflation. We're concerned about a possible recession. We're concerned about a war in Ukraine. I mean, there's so many things that people are worried about.
Yeah.
And especially the money. I mean, you know, the price of eggs. I mean, this is just the basics, you know, trying to feed ourselves and keep a roof over our head. And then these guys are talking about Hunter Biden and let's impeach Biden and let's, you know, and then spending days trying to figure out who they want their speaker to be. I mean, they're so disorganized. They're so busy still defending Trump. It just blows my mind that they're still defending somebody. But on the other hand, why hasn't some big action been taken? Now, there was a thing out on the news where Hillary Clinton won a lawsuit. You know, I don't think she really did that much. I mean, the judge just saw this lawsuit perpetrated by Trump against Hillary Clinton. And he just threw it out, and he said you owe her close to $1 million for all the expense she went through. Well, I just saw it today. I haven't had a chance to read the article, but Trump is trying to do something about that $1 million fine, basically. You know, that it's cost Hillary Clinton, and I'm thinking, you know, let's look back. This is what Trump never should have been president.
No.
Trump was in cahoots with the Russians.
Right.
Trump did lie over and over and continues to lie about Hillary Clinton, calling her crooked Hillary. I mean, it's just how this has transpired and how it's still how it's even something relevant, which it is, because, you know, he's saying that he got gypped out of his presidency. It never happened. But he can get away with saying that Hillary Clinton did something crooked, and
she did nothing.
She did nothing.
No. Here's the thing.
There was no classified emails. There was no trickery in the emails, nor did Hillary Clinton have anything to do with the Russians. He points the finger at her when it is in fact, and we know this for a fact now, that it was Trump that was connected to the Russians.
Right.
He's still connected to the Russians, and the Russians are disappointed that he's not president, because had he been president, he would not have put so much effort into helping Ukraine.
That's not the only reason. That's not the only reason that they're sad he's not president. They're sad he's not president because I think that Vladimir Putin, and now I'm going to sound like a total nut job, but I think that Vladimir Putin and his cronies, his group, I think they wanted to ruin America. I think they wanted to destroy the government, see its downfall, see it crumble and begin to be completely unstable. Then I think they would want to come and take over.
And Trump would be the perfect person to be president to accomplish that.
And I think he's still following their orders of complete disruption of the government. The Republicans, the reason they're acting the way they are is not because they're totally incompetent, although they are incompetent just like Trump is. But the reason I think that they're doing all of this stuff is just to create anarchy, because in anarchy, that gives an opening to some other authoritarian country to come in and take over the government. And for some fucking reason, that's what they want. They don't want to run the government the way it was run before and just pass better taxes for them. That's just like playing Monopoly compared to what they're doing. Their stakes are much higher. Their stakes are, let's crack open the government like an egg, and then we'll all be a part of the authoritarian government that comes and takes over. We'll all be the bigwigs.
Wow. You know, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, that's a scary, scary thought. It feels to me like you're right on.
right? They don't care. They're not trying to create a better anything. They're trying to bring it all down, completely down. They're not going to succeed. Pluto's going to come along and come blow up everything. And most of those people are going to end up either in jail or so ruined that they're lucky to be able to, get a job at a gas station or something. So, I mean, they're not going to succeed, but that is, I believe wholeheartedly that is their aim, because it's too organized. It's not just a bunch of crazies in Congress. It's people at the state level. It's people at the municipal level. It's people in your job. I mean, the 25% that are really into this have infiltrated pretty much every level of society and government. They're not a majority. They can't succeed because of that. But man, they are putting on a pretty good show.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they overturned Roe v. Wade. They're banning books in Florida. They're destroying the educational system in Florida. In Houston, it's almost it's almost like you're a criminal to be a woman, just to be a woman, and need to take care of yourself. I mean, it's insane. And it's only Texas and Florida we hear about because the governors are just so outrageous that it hits the news all the time. But there are something like another 30 of the 50 states that have passed these laws that basically criminalize being a woman and getting health care, and, lets people loose with guns. And I mean, it's horrible.
Right. Well, and also the thing about immigration, that guy from Texas sending all these busing and the guy from Florida too, sending immigrants on buses up to to Martha's Vineyard. You know what? I thank God for those people in Martha's Vineyard. They just, they just looked at that and said, "Are you kidding me? No, we're going to take care of this. We're going to, we're going to do everything we can for these people." We're talking about people.
Yeah.
And they're talking about migrants and illegal aliens, and
they just see them like a bag of potatoes. They don't even see human beings. It's sick. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it is. It broke my heart.
Mine too. Yeah. And then they did that to Kamala Harris too. They dropped off multiple busloads of
and
people.
They keep doing it. It's still happening.
Yeah, it's really bad.
So, and then you look at Canada. I mean, this is just such an embarrassment for the United States. Canada says, it's okay, come on up. Come on up. We want you. We need more people. We want you to come on in.
Yeah.
And we don't care where you're coming from. If you need a place to stay, come on. We got jobs for you. We can do, they want them. And they planned on what did they say that, I know that there's a lot more than this, but there's they said we'd like 150,000 people, this year. Their borders are open. So the people in the United States, I'm just like, what are you thinking? And then if you go way back when Trump was doing this stuff, and it was just separating children from their parents.
Oh,
and
don't even go there. I'm already verklempt. I can't handle it.
Yeah. They still haven't reunited all those children with their parents.
And they may never. But going back to where we started with this, there's so many crimes all along the way. And I think a good majority of them are going to come to a head and be charged, indicted, arrested, whatever. I think a lot of those people, all that action is going to happen in March. That's what I think.
I hope you're right, because I hope something finally happens.
It's not
instead of all the meetings, instead of all the hearings, instead of all the, the back and forth. Yeah. I mean, George has been doing a bunch of stuff. Why hasn't something happened? I mean, the thing with the documents, the thing with the insurrection. I mean, people that were involved in the insurrection, they're in prison. But what about the person that started it? Why isn't he answering to some of this.
Right.
And then the few times they finally do get him in court, he pleads the fifth. What did he do? The last time he was in court, he pled the fifth 400 times. So, you know, the fact that we're hearing about it. They see, you know, they're trying to do something about it. They're trying to present all this information to us, but now we get it. So now what happens? A bunch of people are in prison that Trump said, hey, go ahead, don't worry about it, because I'll take care of you in the end, just as long as we get this election thing back and, you know, that I'm president. Well, what a screwball thing to do, to say, to even, you know, but he thought he could do it. So,
well, you mix a narcissist with another narcissist or sociopath, Putin, and the people around Putin. And Trump, I think, is really beholden to them. He really is. I really think that he's being told to do certain things, because some of the things that he's done are embarrassing, like that trading card thing.
This just pissed me off. That trading card thing. What was it? Like $100 to buy some trading cards.
A trading card. Each one was $100.
Yeah,
but you don't get the trading card. They're virtual, and
they're worth like a week later. Like within a week, they went from so many of them at $100 a piece, end up being worth $6,000.
No, but you know what happened? You know what happened with him? He had to pull it all off the market, off the internet, because he got sued for copyright infringement.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know.
That's not on the news.
When I saw that thing about it, so all of a sudden we're $6,000, I just like, okay, I don't even want to hear about this anymore. I mean, and they're just the stupidest trading cards. Little pictures of him being the superhero with his head on it and his face on it. I'm like, oh my God.
He stole all the images, or whoever did it for him stole all the images. So yeah, they nailed that down. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't think you can get them
look back into that, but because at the time it just was so irritating. I was just like, oh my God, what is this? And I thought, oh, okay, well, Trump needs more money. Maybe he's losing some money. No, he's not. He's a billionaire. I think they said he was worth 3.1 or $2 billion or something. And I'm like, oh Christ, no wonder nothing happens. He's got the money. He's got the attorneys. Nothing. I am so afraid that nothing's going to happen.
He literally never pays for anything. The RNC,
including his taxes,
including his legal bills. The RNC had been paying his legal bills up until, I think, mid-2022. So he didn't have to pay any of those legal bills, and he had a lot of them going on.
And he still does.
And now he has even more, and I don't know how, I mean, he's doing all the fundraising online, all of the things. I mean, he had a lot of rallies that got canceled, but he kept the money.
It's just amazing.
And his people are just like, amazing. Oh, he's like a living Jesus. Oh, give me a break.
It is so unusual and so it's just bizarre the way, you know, his whole 4 years in being a president, and just,
yeah,
he was a talk show host and a realtor. I mean, you know, how in the world that happened? It has to do with the money. It has to do with Russia. It had to do with some kind of a plan that happened way, way before he ever decided, or before he ever announced that he was going to be running for president. And now he's already done that again too, thinking that because he announced he's going to run, all these people are going to back off. I am not so sure that isn't what has happened. You know, just because he made the announcement, like you said, all these judges that he's got, you know, that he gave them the position and they're totally backing him up. You know, at one point I remember they were talking about, who's the attorney general that's supposed to
Merrick Garland,
that even he is looking around like, well, we're just not so sure that anything criminal happened. I'm like, you're not so sure? People overran the Capitol and some people died in the process, and Donald Trump was leading the brigade. He was leading the thing to happen. I mean,
well, thank goodness he passed all of that over to Jack Smith, because Jack Smith will have no problem saying, yes, it's criminal. But here's the thing, is that in the DOJ, they have like legions of attorneys, but they had a lot of people under Barr that were really, really Trump loyalists. And when Merrick Garland came in, he did not just fire everybody. I mean, who did that? I think Barr did that or something, or when Barr came in, everybody quit or something like that. So he had to replace all those people with Trump loyalists. So all the way through various court systems, all around, like New York, Washington, D.C., probably New Jersey, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, all along the Eastern Seaboard, these courts and their justice agencies, whatever they are, at the court, at the state level, have been infiltrated pretty much by MAGAs. And so, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why things have not happened to him. He is still gumming up the works. He is still stopping things just by virtue of those people being in place.
And mind blowing. It's just mind blowing that, that he can get away with this. And, he
didn't do it alone. He didn't do it alone. He had Russia's backing.
Russia's backing, and also his Republican buddies. Because if they don't go along with him, then he turns around and says, okay, you're fired, or you're an idiot.
No. I think Russia's controlling them too. Don't you remember the 4th of July after Trump took over, like 6 senators went over to Russia for the 4th of July?
There was some weirdness. Yeah, there was. I vaguely remember it.
I'm sure they're all controlled by Russia now. One of them was Lindsey Graham.
That's right.
One of them was.
I had hope for him. I had hope.
One of them was that senator who's an optometrist, Paul Rand. Paul Rand? Rand? Is that his name? Curly hair, sometimes wears a bow tie, really goofy, always talked up against COVID.
Yeah.
He went to Russia.
I remember a group.
So there was at least half a dozen, probably maybe more, I can't quite remember, who went on that trip. They're all controlled by Russia. So think of all the damage that they could do. Think of all the damage that all of those people could do. And all the people that they put in other positions to help them along the way. It's frightening.
It is. It totally is.
But it's too organized. It's way too organized. This has just been way too, I mean, it's as if the justice system is just flatlined. Like, are you kidding me? There's so much crime that's gone on. And then, somebody has a joint in their car and they go to prison. Come on.
Right.
Where's the, this is really bad.
It is really bad.
And I don't remember this country ever being quite that bad.
So let's talk about the classified documents.
Okay, should I throw different cards? Because, I mean, this is basically the end result is that the Republicans are going to be grieving by the very soon.
Is that the Republicans on the card?
Yeah, it is. Of course it is.
Well, and they are, and I see what's happened that, beyond all this other stuff we were just talking about, the Republicans in the in the House, they're not looking at this with a fresh new look. They're not taking advantage of the opportunity that's been handed to them to regroup and take a different focus and start being honest a little bit. Just a little bit would help.
Yeah.
And, but we'll just, I like it that's where the card goes, because it feels that way to me. It doesn't feel good. And like I said, I like to always come up with something positive about this, but
yeah,
I don't see it. I just don't see it.
Someday we'll have some positive stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So let's talk about these crazy documents, the secret documents.
Whose documents are we going to talk about? Trump's or
all Trump, Biden, and Pence.
Okay, so I'll do 3 little layouts here. Okay. So first we're going to talk about Trump.
I mean, we know that Trump's situation is totally different than Pence and Biden, but they're making such a big deal about it.
Yeah, they are.
Democrats are disappointing me, because they're looking around too, like, oh my God, what did Biden do? He had a bunch of secret documents and he didn't turn them in.
Well, you know what the real problem here is? It's that in government, they never buy new technology. Those poor people at the archives are probably using, a computer
DOS.
in DOS. Yeah, in DOS.
I think that, when Donald Trump, when they came up with the thing with Biden, that he had some documents that he shouldn't have had, that Donald Trump was just like, yeah, finally. But then Pence turns around and goes, oh, wait a minute. Excuse me too. I've got some too. And so it just kind of leveled everything out. And I really think it's just going to be a big to-do about nothing. But the thing with Donald Trump's documents, that is something. So I say Pence and Biden it's just going to kind of fade into the sunset. Not a big deal. Biden turned over the documents. Biden invited them to come to his house and his summer home and, look through everything. And Pence did the same thing. Why these people ended up with those kind of documents. For one thing, Biden has been in politics and been serving the country since the 70s, right?
Yeah, like over 40 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it's not a surprise that maybe a few, and plus it was his think tank area of what they were, I don't know what they did there, but
yeah.
And then they're making such a big deal about, oh my God, the documents are in his garage. I mean, anybody could have come into the garage and looked at the documents.
No, they were locked. They were locked away. But here's what I think. I think Donald Trump has been a little too cute by half with this, because he tweeted about Biden's documents shortly after they were discovered. And he was actually kind of on Biden's side. He was like, you see how outrageous this is, that they're searching people's houses for these documents? That's just not right. That was just not right. Something to that effect, right?
Right.
But then a few days later, somebody was interviewing him about the documents and stuff. And he said, well, I just like the folders. I just think the folders are cool. So I hung on to a bunch of the folders. Okay, now let's follow this. So he thinks that it's okay that Biden had these things. He likes the folders. Well, where are the documents that were in those folders? Anybody check?
Well, he's trying to say he didn't actually have the documents. Isn't that what he's trying to say?
That's what he's trying to say, but connect the dots. If the folders are empty, where are those documents? I think my hypothesis, the reason they're not identifying what was found from Biden and from Pence is because I think they were Donald Trump's documents planted for Biden and Pence. And if they check the dates, they'll see that Biden couldn't have had his hands on some of those documents because they were for the administration dates of Donald Trump, not of Obama. That's what I think.
Okay. I don't agree, but okay.
It's possible though, because he likes the folders and he doesn't care about the documents.
Anything is possible. And as goofy as that, to me, that sounds goofy that they would plant documents somewhere, but I just
why? Trump's he's a 5-year-old. Well, they did it to me, let's do it to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And poor Pence, I mean, he hates Pence as much as he hates Biden. Yeah, do it to Pence too. I mean, but I really do think it's the fault of the National Archives, because I just think they need a better system. Somebody give them a budget and buy them a MacBook or something. I mean, they just need better technology.
Obviously, President Biden had no idea that he had documents like that in his possession.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Who knows what happens in between him being a senator and between him being a vice president and now being a president. I mean, and he has so many, 30, 40 years in government. And no surprise that he has something in his house that he wasn't supposed to have. But the people that searched the area, I think they were FBI.
And why? Why were they searching it? Who told them to search?
That's exactly. They were closing the office down.
Okay.
They weren't going to use the office anymore.
So that makes sense. It's an office, but a garage and his private home doesn't make sense.
I think they were implying. I mean, it started. The whole reporting started getting a little bit skewed here about what's going on, because everybody was so busy thinking about the garage and the Corvette and the documents. I mean, it was just stupid. And then that he did. He might have had something in the house. I don't know. I don't even care. I'd rather have him have some documents
than Trump.
At least he was. At least I know he's not going to sell them to the Russians.
Right. You don't like my folder theory, huh? I really like that theory.
It's actually a pretty good theory. I just don't.
And the dates, I can't believe it. I'm just like, just let them find that the dates on the documents couldn't have been documents that Joe Biden got while he was in office. That they got to be documents that Trump took while he was in office.
Well, and I'd like to know just, they were confidential, they were secret. And what did they kind of pertain to? I don't know. I don't want to know what was in the documents, but what kind of documents did Trump have versus what kind of secret documents did Trump have versus what kind of secret documents did Biden have? And Pence, again, I mean, he was only in there for 4 years and he ends up with some documents. Why are these documents that are supposed to be classified and secret so easily okay, I'll just take these home with me.
Right? Yeah. But apparently they do. And the National Archive, well, because here's the thing. If they're working on things that are secret, which a lot of things are between the president and the vice president, they don't get classified until they're put in the archives, right? I mean, as if at first it might be classified material, say from the CIA or the FBI or whatever, but if they're given that material to study it for a purpose, like, the Afghanistan war or something like that, then they do have to have it in their possession while they're studying it. That's the only thing I can think of. But then after the fact, are they going to just remember to send it back to the archives? No.
Well, and why did Donald Trump want those documents? Why did he purposely store them in Mar-a-Lago? And why, not only did he want them, he wanted to make an argument about, they're my documents. You can't have them back.
And there was a guy who got called before was it a grand jury or something in New York? No, in Washington. I think his name is Fitton, and I just saw this on Nicole Wallace, so it was from yesterday. he got called before a grand jury in Washington to talk about that very thing, because he was a political strategist, not an attorney, who was advising Trump all around the January 6 days, but also after he left the White House, encouraging him to keep the documents and encouraging him and telling him that they were his. He basically created him because he was president, and he said,
so Trump's using this guy as a scapegoat.
No, he hasn't. Trump hasn't said that yet. Trump is claiming it's his idea, that he can declassify them, that they're his personal documents, and that
he can declassify them mentally just by looking at them and going, you know what, declassified.
He's so talented.
It's amazing that he gets away with saying this kind of stuff, and people are like, well, yeah, he said he could declassify them. You know, I mean, the average person looking at this is not, especially if you're a Trump supporter. I mean,
I'm sorry. I just can't.
What, that he can mentally declassify things just by looking?
You know, I have a thing that it has mirrors in it. So like this thing like that, and I can look around corners. It's magic.
Right. I've seen those kind of mirrors.
And I'm a spy. Okay, so Trump's cards were terrible. So Trump's cards were, he gets the card for fighting. Everybody's fighting him, and he's got a million different fights going on. This is about the documents. So they're going to fight him about the documents. He's going to lose. He's going to be threatened with jail. 8 of Swords is the jail card. It means that, you know, you're trapped, you're in prison, you can't run away. And then he's going to have a choice to make. So he's going to try to make a deal. He's going to try to make a deal.
He is the master of the art of the deal.
He's really not. He's really bad at making a deal. Really bad. So yeah, not happy for Trump. These are very not happy cards for him. Yeah.
Yeah. And didn't I see also that all his kids are in trouble as well because they've lied right along with their dad?
And they signed things. They signed a lot of things. So all of them are in danger of going to prison. All of them. All 3 of them older kids. Yeah. They're all in danger of going to prison. And losing all their wealth, whatever their wealth is. So Joe Biden, Uncle Joe got great cards.
Really?
Yeah, great. So for the document things,
I call him Grandpa Joe, but go ahead.
He gets the Ace of Pentacles, which means that he's going to come up smelling like a rose. This also means that you're going to see him really confident and get that bounce back in his step once this thing is over. So he's going to be really happy.
And are we talking again about the secret documents?
Yeah, the secret documents.
Okay, because, you know, that's what I feel, that it's just going to be much to do about nothing.
That's
and that, you know, I mean, that obviously Joe Biden didn't do anything intentional, didn't ever try to hide anything. And they're trying to say, oh, my God, he found out before the primaries, and he should have said something like it would have made a difference.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you fools, it's not going to make any difference. They think the American people, because Trump thinks the American voters, I should say, don't know what they're doing, and that they just can lead them around like to have them do anything they want, and that they're going to buy the lies. These people, these voters, the American public, they are not buying the lies. They are not, you know, the Republicans tried to say that Joe Biden was the cause for inflation. Oh, brother, give me a break. We had a pandemic. The country was shut down for months.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't do that without the repercussions of what was going to, you know, I was just waiting to see what was going to happen. The fact that we haven't gone into a full-blown
recession
is amazing. And it's because of Joe Biden. He has fixed that.
Absolutely, yeah.
But during the primaries, that's all they talked about, was that Joe Biden has caused this problem. Joe Biden, the only reason we are in the position we're in right now is because of him. He made us go out and get a vaccine, and he gave it to us for free, and he begged us to do it. And suddenly the economy picked up. People were able to go back to work. People were still getting sick, but they weren't dying. I mean, some did die, unfortunately. But, you know, Joe Biden has been a miracle worker. and not getting the credit. I know his poll numbers keep going way down, and then, and then back up a little bit and then down. And I don't pay attention to those polls anymore because, I see, what has he done?
I think those polls are BS. I don't think they're real because most people feel the way you do. Most people recognize that he's done a terrific job, a hell of a job in the face of great adversity. And by the way, all of this crap that they're trying to sling at him now, he's a politician. He's used to having crap thrown at him and having to get rid of it. He'll get through this. He'll be
yeah.
Look at his next card. There he is.
Is that Joe?
That's Joe. He's going to be real proud. He's just going to be so proud. He's going to look out on America and say, well, now what can I do for you, America? Let's go. He's really happy about that.
Well, and he really has been. He's just been a lifesaver.
Yeah, and even his health is going to get even better.
Oh, good. Because this is my other concern. Is Joe Biden going to run for president again? And if he does, is he going to get it? I'm worried about this. I kind of see it as right now he's going to imply that he's going to run again.
Don't worry. He's great. He's doing great. He's going to be doing great.
But he's 80 years old.
And he's great. He's one of those anomalies. He's one of those people that was just born to wear aviator sunglasses and have white hair. I mean, he's just so cool.
But he does do some funny things when
he does. He's human.
Well, he's old. He does. I see.
He always did those things.
Kind of goofy things, like when he walked up on stage and he was kind of like, almost looked like he was doing the robot, and he was like, "Wait a minute, where am I going and why am I here?" Oh, wait, I remember now. I remember. He just had a senior moment for a second. But no, I mean, Joe Biden. I'm worried about him being older. I'm worried about who might run against him. And will the American people really see that, if he does decide, I think that if he thinks he can't physically keep up with it, that he would not run. I mean, he won't run if he doesn't think he can't actually do the job, or that, that his health might be interference, or that, those little brief senior moments where he just kind of like, whoa, oh, wait, no, I know what I'm doing. I know.
Yeah, he's not going to hang in there over long. He's not Ruth Bader Ginsburg. He's not going to do that. But yeah, so but I do think he's going to be fine for the next presidency, and I don't think he'll make it through the whole term, but I think he'll step down still alive and pass it off to Kamala. That's what I think is going to happen. I've always thought that's going to happen.
She is getting so much grief, even especially right now. Today they're just very negative articles about her, and
well, she's a woman. That's the first strike, and then you throw in that she's biracial, 2 and 3.
Well, but she has said some things that they immediately pounce on. That she said something incorrectly or said something that was just kind of goofy, and I know the latest thing has been with the poor guy that was killed by the police.
Yeah.
And, I mean, God, we got so many problems in this country that I wish we could just magically cure all of a sudden. But
don't you think there's also a reason why all those things are problems? Again, it goes back to this well-oiled machine of creating anarchy. I think the people who shot that poor young man were also Black.
Yeah, that's amazing.
How do you create that in this country, in this climate? Money?
And after we've already seen this happen before, they pull over in person for doing, what was it? Was it a headlight or a tail light? Or
it was nothing. They pulled him over and there was absolutely nothing wrong with his car. They've gone over it. He did nothing. He kept asking, what did I do? What did I do? I just want to get home. What did I do? He didn't do anything.
And he winds up dead. I mean, it's just
dead. the story of too many people of color who get stopped in a car because they're all by themselves and they can't defend themselves because it's the police.
Yeah, it's just so sad. It's just really
It's
so sad.
so wrong and so sad. Yeah, it really is. But yeah, I saw what she said at the funeral, and it was quite powerful.
Oh, okay.
It
I
was
didn't see that.
very powerful. And again, I do think, I mean, I do watch a lot of MSNBC, but even that, I see a lot of times the things that they say are still skewed towards the Republicans, amazingly. I mean, for all the liberal bias that they display, I still see, especially in the mainstream news of like just plain old NBC, it still skews more towards Republicans. And those polls are terrible. They're always doing polls where it looks like Biden's ready to be, thrown out the window or something because it's just so bad. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that that's the real poll. It just doesn't.
Yeah, because how could it possibly be?
Look at the way people voted at the last November. They voted predominantly Democratic. A lot of the reasons that any Republicans won, a lot of it was areas that were tremendously gerrymandered and hadn't been changed after the census. And that's another thing Trump screwed up was the census. And that's going to have to be redone because it's completely wrong. And we still have districts that are tremendously gerrymandered and they skew towards Republicans. So it's very hard, even though there's only about 24% of Americans that are Republican, with the gerrymandering, doesn't matter. They still win seats. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, like I said, the Republican Party itself is coming undone. It's just
it is undone. Yeah.
And like they have an opportunity to change things and kind of bolster their whole party, but they're not doing that. And I don't see that changing.
No.
I see, but it's something that in the end, down the road, years down the road, I mean, please, it's got to change. The independent party. So many people are going to that area. And I really think what I find sad is that the Republicans are screwing up. The Democrats they've got, they're iffy sometimes, but for the most part, I agree with them. And then you have the independents. So the Republican Party, we need the two-party system has been around for what, a couple hundred years? Or no, maybe not that long, but a long time. Mm-hmm. And we need that kind of thing. I think it ought to get finally split up into thirds and have independent, Republican, Democrat.
Or more. Some countries have more.
I think that, well, you don't want to get too many because then you really have a mess. But
well, then they do the ranking with the votes.
But I really think that if they end up having three major parties,
it would help.
It would definitely help. But then also the Republicans have got to stop finger pointing and the name calling, all this stuff that they picked up from Trump, especially, that they don't like it because you're a Democrat. They don't like, just like the woman that you just mentioned earlier, that they want to remove from a committee. They don't like her because she's Democrat. They don't like her also because she's Muslim and all these other things, which is just sends a horrible message.
Well, they don't like her because they know removing her, or they want to remove her because they know that doing that will rile people up a lot. It'll make a lot of people angry. A lot of people will be angry.
But then they want to bring in that other woman. What's her name?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That person.
She makes people angry too, but she instills anarchy wherever she goes. I watched some things. I think it was Mehdi Hassan, I want to say, played her first political ad. Oh my God. She had some huge rifle, looked like a bazooka, And she was out in a field, and she said, I'm here to end open borders. And she had a big sign that said open borders, big poster. She blasted it with her gun and it just pulverized. And then she said, I'm here to bring back good Christian values. And I don't know what she blew up. She blew up something else. And then she said, and I'm here to get rid of socialism. And she blew up a sign that said socialism. And she did like 4 of them. And I was just like, are you kidding me? And she won.
Yeah, that is the
mentality.
Mentality that comes out from the Trump era.
Yeah, but that was in Georgia. In Georgia, like, Georgia, get a clue. What is wrong with you? You actually elect a white woman with a huge gun?
Is that person an elected official or somebody? I thought you said she was running for an office.
No, when she first ran her first political ad.
And she did win it?
And she won.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Now, that could only have happened, I think, in a pretty jerry-rigged area, because I don't know a lot of people of color who would be very fond of having a white lady with a big gun running stuff in their state. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I think you got a good point, a really good point. But
big. This gun was big.
No, I mean, we've really run into some situations here that it's going to take a lot to change it. And Kevin McCarthy is I halfway when he had his little discussion with Biden, I thought, okay, well, maybe this guy does have a brain and maybe he is going to be sensible, but I know in the end he's not. They're still going to go after stuff because he made some goofy promises to people in order to get to be speaker. And that's the way the whole next 2 years is going to be. They're not going to be able to figure out what bills they want and don't want. They're starting to talk. One day they're going to go after Medicare and Medicaid. The next day oh, no, we're not going to touch that. Well, that kind of thing, when they start talking about reducing Medicare,
Social Security,
yes. I mean, it scares the hell out of people. I'm on Social Security. I barely have enough money to breathe, let alone have it reduced. I mean, I was so excited when we got this big raise this year. And then this fool comes out and says, oh, well, in order to cut the budget. No.
The thing that I hate about when Republicans talk about stuff like that is that Social Security is not a part of your budget. This is money that we paid in. This is not extra taxes. This is the fund of Social Security. Get your little mitts off it. It's not an entitlement. We paid for it.
Exactly.
And Medicare, we paid for it. We already paid for it in our taxes getting taken out of our paychecks. Keep your mitts off of it. What else they proposed for 24 hours? Oh, we're going to abolish the IRS. Oh, genius. Yeah, get rid of the one thing that does bring in money. Genius.
That's what I mean.
You did it, Kevin. You outwitted us all.
Everything is so catty.
Solved it all.
And unfortunately, Biden is in there just staying steady and keep on keeping on. I mean, he just is doing all the right stuff. And like I said, this little thing with the documents is it's just something let's focus on it for now. But in the end, it's just going to be tossed to the side. We're all going to find out, the documents were taken care of. They're back in the archives. There was no intentional thing done there. Not the same for Trump, though. Trump is going to have to respond more about what was going on with those documents. Why did he want them so bad? And no, they weren't just folders. There was documents.
Oh, no, he didn't only have folders. He did have lots of documents, but he did have a whole bunch of folders with no documents in them. And those are the ones I think that he planted on the other people. But Trump is going to, I think, go down for espionage for that one. Because I think it's going to be found that he either shared them or sold them to foreign people, to foreign.
Well, and you talk about all these things that Trump's going to go down for. When is that going to happen? I mean, I thought it would have been happen last year, and then I thought for sure we'd start hearing about now that something would change with Trump, that he would finally he'd have to admit something. And what does he do? He goes into court and says, fifth, I take the fifth. So,
but in the court cases, if you go into a civil court and you plead the fifth, I think they can use that against you in the case. If you go into, I think it's with criminal, they can't use it against you. So I don't think it was smart of him to plead the fifth in that case.
He's got so many things against him, so many things that have gone wrong, so many things that not even the average person, just, Bill Gates. If Bill Gates did something like this, he'd go to jail.
Yeah.
If, that's why the laws are written the way they're written. It doesn't have anything to do with just because you were president that you think you can get away with that. But he does seem to think that by saying mentally, I declassify the secret documents.
It's like a bad Disney cartoon. It's just... it's just so bad. But here's Pence's cards, just to put a button on this one. So the first card that Pence got was the Hanged Man. Isn't that ironic?
Oh,
he didn't.
Well, yeah, because they wanted to hang him.
They wanted to hang him. They sure did. So this is definitely tells me that they planted it on Pence because it was punishment for him not going along with them on January 6th. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay, the next card that he got is the Empress, and this card very often just kind of generally represents America, and she's upside down. So I don't think America's really behind Pence. I think they kind of they're like, sorry, buddy, you're in the netherworld. You're not with Trump, and you're not with us. We don't like you. Go home. And the last card is the Ace of Swords, which means the Sword of Truth. So there is going to, he will be vindicated that it'll come out if it was planted on him, it'll come out eventually, but it could take a very long time. So, but I do think it was a revenge on Trump, on Pence, because he didn't help Trump on January 6th.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
And I did not think, I kind of thought that before, but with these cards, I was like, whoa, because it's a little too on the nose, don't you think?
Yeah.
Come on, the guy is hanging from a tree. Still on the nose.
Well, there's a lot of areas we didn't cover tonight, but I think we did cover quite a bit.
Yes, we did.
We didn't talk about the possibility of the governor of Florida becoming president, and I just hope and pray that doesn't happen. And I did want to talk about,
Wait, do you have a small child yelling in the background?
A kitty cat.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just thought maybe you guys had a new hobby. I don't know.
Yeah, Aggie. Well,
she's talking.
And it's getting time for her treat.
Oh, so she's reminding you.
So anyway, I enjoyed this very much.
Yes, this was fun. So thank you very much for coming and doing PoliTarology with me. This was a kick. And I didn't do a lot of cards, but that's okay. It was fun. And I hope you'll come back and do more with me.
I'd be glad to. But I need to do a little brush up on you. You did forward me some questions that we thought we might go over tonight, and I really didn't have any. I haven't put in my mind onto those particular subjects. So, I need to kind of know in advance.
What's your kitty's name?
Pardon me?
What's your kitty's name?
That's Agatha.
Yeah. Agatha is telling you, you've been on camera long enough. You need to come and take care of me now.
But, yeah, she is.
Yeah. All right. So we will do this again. Thank you. Thank you very much. And for everybody who's watching out there, thank you very much. And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.